All right, well, welcome back. Wasn't that fun? They're gonna send us pictures, and then we will, we're willing to share those with you. The other thing that we were asked while we were over there is, Dr. Paul Hyman, who's been here, Lisa Paul Hyman, she is going to write up a little article about our week here. And so if you would kindly, if you feel like so compelled, send her like a 1 or 2 sentence, email it to her, just about your experience or program or your week here or whatever, so that she can incorporate that into her little article. Okay. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Shotsberger.
Dr. Reese, you want to do your presentation?
They're not here yet.
Okay, let me know. Okay, so we have been working together and trying to answer questions about like what's coming after this time in the remainder of your course. So first of all, we've mostly, apparently not completely, fixed the days. So what should be the case, or what will be the case shortly, is session 8 is July 7th, and that's obviously because you have this reflection due this Sunday, and so week 8 kind of starts in the next week. And then it goes all the way through forever, yes. August 18th. Now, the plain fact of the matter is, okay, typically, there would be like a week in between courses. Because of this week, there is not, okay? So just, brace yourself, okay? Because the very next week, you'll be in another course. So notice that what's due the week prior in session 13 is the conclusions of the study, that's chapter 5, and then the final project, that's what's due to chalk and wire, okay? And notice also the code, by the way, the 9697, that's, unless you see a code, it's not chalk and wire, okay? That's only for chalk and wire submissions. So you can why do we do that? Because that's a primary assessment for us for accreditation. That's why. So we collect things on chalk and wire primarily for accreditation. The rest of the stuff is kind of works in progress, and and so we just kind of handle it through Canvas or the discussions. Okay, so let me just mention a couple of things. One thing I want to say is in session 8 and 9, you're going to be asked to read the articles that we have for you, and that's these guys, okay, in the syllabus, the Maxwell and also the Schmidt. And one is kind of thinking in terms of big picture research design. That's the second one, and that actually kind of takes you through the research design process, which is a nice thing. The first article, though, I want to especially point out because that is essentially meta analysis that they're doing, okay? So what they're doing, if I can call up this abstract. So it says, the article provides a narrative review of scholarly writings on professional ethics, education for future teachers. That's basically what you're doing, okay? So you can get a lot of insight, I think, from how to construct your study, your different chapters and that sort of thing. I mean, this one is obviously, because it's a journal article, it's not laid out chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but nonetheless, all those components are there. So that hopefully will give you a little bit of insight on the thing that you need to write, okay? All right, so let me go back.
Where's that again?
There's not a lot.
Syllabus. There are links for articles, and this is the first article. Okay, moving on. Okay, so back to the modules. You're asked in week 8 to do a draft and feedback in terms of the discussion. Which one do I want to do? On the research design. Okay. Now, if I go to the modules, and if I go to week 8, which is the week after this one, then one of the things that you'll see in there is actually sort of a graphic on research design. Okay. One of the things to kind of be aware is that research methodology, chapter 3, is really just one component of research design. Research design pretty much is the whole thing. It's pretty much the whole thing. So yes, you are concerned about, your questions, your data collection, your data analysis, and that sort of thing, but also the worldview that is being, posited in this thing, also the strategies of inquiry, qualitative, quantitative, mixed strategies, okay? So basically what you've been working on up to this point, chapters 1 and 2, is research design, okay? Because most of you, perhaps all of them, have mentioned somewhere in chapters 1 and 2 that this is going to be a meta-analysis. It may just have been that simple, just throw away or something like that. Nonetheless, you at least have given an indication of what's coming in terms of the methodology. So what we're asking for this discussion, week 8 discussion, what you're submitting is simply the cleaned up chapters 1 and 2. Okay. So when we say research design, we're just simply talking about what you've already done. Okay. So that incorporates the peer feedback, feedback, everything else that you've been experiencing. Okay.
And if we didn't include meta-analysis, we should change that.
Yeah, I think it would be good, probably in chapter 1, usually, or at least maybe at the beginning of chapter 2, before you get into all the lit, you say, the intention is to, conduct a meta-analysis of, this following literature. So mostly that's done, okay? Mostly that's what you've been working on. We would like for you to start thinking next week, week 8, about chapter 3, okay? And so, yes, it is a meta-analysis, but is there going to be a focus? Is there going to be, weighted more towards quantitative? Do you think maybe weighted more towards qualitative? And that's completely up to you. So think in those terms, and then when you get to week 9, that's what that discussion is, okay? Now, what we've created for you is a new assignment for week 10, okay? And that sounds horrible, but it's not. It's not because it's way clearer, okay? So, let me go to this. Let's do that. So you'll recommend or recognize that there was already a group for progressive mock dissertation. Okay, and you had a number of things under there, the peer review, mock writing proposed. What we've done is we've added something specifically for the revised mock proposal writing project. That's the new thing. And that's session 10, okay? So here's what we're asking from you, okay? We are asking for that assignment, chapters 1 and 2 and chapter 3, okay? So by that time, you would have already done the discussion on chapter 3, you would have already given the feedback and that sort of thing. We're just asking you to clean that up and put it with chapters 1 and 2. Now, why would we do that? Okay, that is the essence of the dissertation proposal. Is that, when you do this for real and you give your committee your dissertation proposal is chapters 1 through 3. Okay, so we want you to kind of, again, have that kind of experience. Why didn't we have you do it, before the residency? There's no way we could fit it in. There's no way you could have gotten that done in time. So, sorry, but that's kind of the way we're going on this. And
But still in future committee.
Yes, still on future tense, thank you very much. And, you know, what you will do, okay? And I would just again note to you, the things that are included in the modules, the videos, the reading, you know, I just keep up with it, keep going. There's good information in there, and hopefully, again, with the Zoom discussions, et cetera, things will begin to change, and it'll be clearer. So that's, you know, that's chapters 1 through 3, and then you're going to be working on chapter 4, chapter 5, and then ultimately the entire thing at the end for chapter 1. Is that a little bit clearer?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We did the best we could. The problem in Canvas is you make a change in one place, you have to make it in 5 other places. And so if you notice anything that is askew, okay, I didn't expect that one, please just email us and let us know, and we will address it, okay? No question. Is that true? Yes.
When you're under discussion 9, it still says that when you put weird things, since this is a group discussion, each group has a conversation on the topic. Just ignore that.
You can assume that's just the code word.
Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't mention this, but in the discussions, we've gotten rid of any mention of Google Docs. So it is just the Canvas discussion in your code. That's what's expected.
From here on out.
Discussions.
Is there going to be any time during the rest of this 14-week course that we will need to refer back to any of our group from our peer editing group? Are we going to need?
You know,
to
I don't think
further
so.
that?
I don't think so. Maybe in the future we'll figure out how to do that, but yeah, this time, no, it's just gonna be the code. Okay.
As far as the peer review of my proposal project, was there anything we were supposed to do?
You were supposed to turn in the rubric on your 2 people, and if you go under mock, it's worth like 10 points or something. So about a third of my group turned that in. But we know that you were there, we know that you were working, so you didn't, what we were saying on that day is that you don't have to turn in anything like notes or comments or papers or anything like that, but you did have a rubric to fill out on the people that were in your group, just so that we can see that people were participating, because we can't sit next to you and listen to your everybody's conversations. So it's just a matter of going in and filling out the rubric on your 2 members, on your other 2 members. Yeah, you'll see it when you open it.
So are they downloading the rubric and filling it out?
How did you have to do it?
We had to take a picture of it and
Okay.
put it on a Google form and then draw our circles and then submit it back.
Somebody else did it a different way. Yeah.
So the question is, how do we do that? And we're getting different answers about how, some people took a picture of it and did a Google Doc, and then some people highlighted. I know some people that I've seen that were turned in have just the X there under which one. As long as you put the person's name on there and give scores for that person, the method of how you get there is unimportant to us. It's just a matter of what's easiest for you to go ahead and do the 2 rubrics and get them back up there for you. So you get the point.
Is it just this rubric that's on it? Okay, so just print that off somewhere.
Yeah, whatever's easiest for you to do.
We just send you the name and points, right?
Well, you'll put the name on the rubric and send us the rubric.
So you give me the rubric back.
There will actually be 2 rubrics that are sent back to us. But they've all the ones that have been submitted in my group have all been in one document, one submission. So it's not multiple submissions.
If you have a question on how exactly to do that, we can talk about that. Dr. Each, you want a presentation there?
I have 3 amigos that are gonna help me. That's what we're gonna do.
Oh.
It's a photo op. Let me get my phone here.
These are not required to be shown in all of our Zoom sessions.
You're welcome. And everybody else talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody get one. And nobody has said anything.
Thank you.
No. Huh? University.
University.
What about what's
University.
On Tuesday, I talked to my cohort about the over-reliance on spell check. This is an under-reliance. The university had resent to them and they were going to sell them for $8,000. And they looked at them and they said, uh-oh. So they got them for free. And they were going to destroy them. I just talked about them and said, yeah, we don't want those going down. People looking at that saying, that's new university.
You should have taken a Sharpie and.
So I had to get,
So you said this will.
I had to get his permission and I bought all of them. They were selling them for $3 and I was like, okay. Misspelling on it.
Yes, right.
Well, Dr. Shotsberger, is there a way it just blocked me? My thing?
You don't want to.
You're done.
No more. Holy moly.
Reverend Williams, you have them in? We just got this.
I knew it. You guys are trying to hack this.
All right, who's trying to change their brain? I was just going into portal.
It was just.
All right, I'll tell you what, so that we can move forward, y'all have access to this through the portal. So go ahead and call up your design PowerPoint, and I'm just gonna, there's only a couple slides. It's basically for us to wrap up each cohort where you are. And, that's good. All right. So Dr. Shotsberger was already talking to you about the design of your study and what we mean by that. So I'm not going to go over that again. But one thing that I just want to reiterate from my
session yesterday that I talked about was getting permissions. And I'm not talking about that now when you're doing meta-analysis, but think about that when you're thinking about doing your real dissertation, is what permissions might you need to get, and how does that feed into whether or not your topic is actually feasible for you to do, okay? So the example that I used in my session was that I had a young lady who went through her whole proposal telling me that she had permissions from 2 universities to work with special ed data. And right when we were getting ready for her to defend, and I said, I need these documents because you're gonna have to upload them for your IRB. That's when I found out that she wasn't exactly telling me truth. And so she didn't have permissions, and she couldn't get permissions from the 2 universities she was gonna use. So it set her back about 3 to 6 months. Okay, because then she had to, we didn't want to change her whole focus of her dissertation, but she had to find a university that was going to allow her access to the data that she would need. So permissions, you have to think about permissions, especially if you're working with a population that's protected. Okay?
And that's also true for your pilot study. Same thing.
There's certain forms we have to have, like, that will, I mean, that y'all have on the website, or we just go, there's something about.
Yeah, there's yeah, and you'll see, as you start working with your, with IRB and whatnot, and as you get into the process, you'll learn more about that. Your research courses will talk about that. So, but I just want to put that out there so that you start thinking about, the project, and what you might need to do.
So can I ask a question then that just came to mind that for our pilot, thank you. Will we need to do a submission to the IRB for that when we get to that next?
Again, we're considering the pilot study to be internal, okay? And so not necessarily disseminated out. However, that doesn't have anything to do with permissions, okay? So you're gonna have to, for instance, if you are, I don't know what, interviewing students, you're gonna have to get parent permissions, you're gonna have to get district permissions, you're gonna have to, whatever your district requires. And I know that some of these districts are really stringent. Like Greenville is really stringent. You have to go all the way to the top with your request. So give yourself some time with those permissions.
And along with that, the research I just did for my book, we use teachers from all over, but when we hit New York had their own IRB process, and one hand acknowledged University's IRB. So unless I took the time to go through their whole IRB process, which is more stringent, restrictive than the one from the university, I ended up using somebody else because I got into the process and I'm like, oh my gosh, my book is going to be 3 years old. Their IRB. Yeah. So permissions are really something that we need to start thinking about. Okay. And then feasibility and timeliness, I'm sure that you talked about in research, if you have the research course already. I know that you've been hearing it throughout the week in different ways, but this is not a lifelong project. This is something that needs to be done in a certain amount of time. And so you've been hearing about bite size, bite size, bite size, bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. And that's why, because we want you to finish. And at some point, we have to, with a good chair, your chair is going to say, we're not the orientation. They went downstairs, you go out to the left. Right there. Yep. That's what
They don't want to hear this, they'll let us sign up.
We just want to make sure that we're bringing it down in a good chair. Will tell you, hey, it's time for you to stop. They'll put those brakes on so that you don't keep drilling even deeper than you have to for what it is that your proposal says that you want to do, the direction you want to take your study. So all three of the cohorts are in different places. And so we just want to acknowledge where you are. And when you start thinking about, so what does this next year look like for me in our cohort? Cohort 1, you'll be, and we talked about this, but after your 24 credits are complete, you'll be getting an email from me where then you'll be able to go and set up your dissertation committee. You'll be working with your chair during the second part of the fall semester, because come winter, that's when you finish your 30 credits, between 30 and 36 credits, you'll be ready to take your comps, which is the comp assessment, the additional paper. Okay? So by Christmas, you'll be ready to do that. Exciting stuff, right? Upon successful completion of that, you then become candidates. You're no longer students, you're candidates. And then, so then after that, then you'll be able to start working on your proposal, the real proposal. You'll have your pilot and your information from that you can use. And if you should decide to change directions, you can do that. It's a safe place. You can change your direction. Okay? So that's cohort 1. Any questions from cohort 1?
The pilot is separate from the proposal.
Correct, but it can lead into your proposal.
Not research.
Say it again.
The research, not the.
Do you want to talk about the research 1, research 2, the pilot, and how that fits into the proposal?
Yeah, so once you get research 1, you're doing a lit review for the pilot study. So you're compiling your thoughts, on this thing that potentially could become your dissertation. That means that most of that document that you come up with for research 1 and research 2, especially chapters 1 through 3, should be almost completely applicable to your dissertation. You may need to expand the lit review. You may need to kind of deepen, a couple things. After all, you're dealing with a larger scale issue, and that sort of thing. So, I mean, there would be obviously some change, and also just time passes. And so, it's good to have updated, sources and things like that. But mostly that work is done by the time of the dissertation proposal, and you're just kind of working with what you already have. That is the ideal, okay? Stuff happens, and as I've already indicated, you could have some project that you are, trying to analyze, be terminated. You could wind up moving away to a different district, and you wind up having to work with different schools, and I mean, any number of things can happen. But the hope is that basically, like I said, you're just scaling up your dissertation from what you've already done. So I guess my point is, you can always be thinking, always have the dissertation in mind, always be kind of, moving in that direction, but don't get too carried away in terms of the actual work, because it's built in, and so once you get research 1, you're asked to do those first 3 chapters, and so just let the process work itself out, all right.
Yeah, and the only thing that I would say too, and we've talked about this throughout the week, is that then you have to work with your dissertation committee. And so it's great if we feel as professors that that's a good topic, but remember that your dissertation committee is the one you and they are working together for that process. So not saying that you would bring something and they would say, no, this isn't going to work. You know what I mean? But you do have to be open to their suggestions and thoughts and everything else. So
one more thing on that. Should we do our own like tiny analysis, or not analysis, but our own, research study on for the pilot? Or could it be like the meta-analysis of what's already there?
No, it needs to be the research study. Is a meta-analysis a research study? Yes, it is. The assumption is, though, that you're doing original research. Now, a question was asked yesterday, which I thought was very good in my session, and that was, what about a confirmatory study? Okay, and it's my personal opinion that we are in crying need for confirmatory studies. There's so much research out there that has never been verified. It's never been confirmed. Here's the thing, though: you have to somehow distinguish what you're doing from what everybody else has done. And that is hard with a confirmatory study. What you could do is you could, kind of exactly follow the method. Let's say it's a quantitative study. You could exactly follow those quantitative methods, okay? But you add a qualitative piece to it, as an example, okay? So it can't just be a Xerox copy. There's no way. But as I say, we really need confirmatory studies in terms of especially practice, practical stuff. So
Does that answer your question? So any other cohort ones? Okay, cohort 2. So you're 2 courses behind them, and so your spring semester is when you'll be setting up your dissertation committees. Okay, and then summer next year, you should be able to program up. Okay, and so then you can just follow kind of behind this first group here. Okay? So any questions with your cohort 2? And then cohort 3, that's just started in January, are little newbies. So you are working on coursework right now, and so really what you're doing is discerning what your research topics are. And you have a little ways to go before you can put your dissertation committees together, but hopefully you've met some people that you kind of want to keep in touch with. And so any questions from your cohort?